Hey guys, in today's video, I'd like to give you a little overview about the Community Psychoeducation Mini Project. I'm sure Ariana have explained this to you earlier in the semester, but as there is slight changes due to the COVID outbreak, I thought that I would make this presentation. So first of all, let's do an overview of the project. This project is meant to help you learn how to identify a problem within our community, create a relevant psychoeducation, implement a plan, and then evaluate how you did during the project planning and implementation. Secondly, this project is a group project. I'm pretty sure each and every one of you have already chosen your group members, so that shouldn't be a problem. We expect you to not just create some random psychoeducation project. We hope that you can create one that is evidence-based and theory-driven. Past research has definitely shown that psychoeducation and intervention programs that are based on theories are more likely to succeed and lead to longer lasting changes. So we hope that you can follow the steps of those research. During the first meeting of this course, I remember that we talked about where we should implement this project, and Bu Ariana have decided and told you, I think, that the project will be carried out within campus grounds, so you would meet people face to face. But due to the COVID-19 outbreak, this wouldn't be wise and it wouldn't be safe for you, and also there wouldn't be anyone on campus anyway. So the safest way to do this is to conduct the project through online means. You can use any online means that uh, is relevant or best suits your objective. You can use Instagram, YouTube, or one of the currently popular mediums is TikTok, so you can use that as well if you'd like. So yeah, you should implement your project through online means. So there are 5 stages to this project. The first stage is defining the problem. Now I think you have completed most of this stage with Bu Ariana, but you may need to tweak or add to it so that it's more comprehensive. We will look at more of what I mean by this in the next slide. Now in the second stage, you'll approach your problem according to 1 or 2 theories, or maybe even 3 theories that you have learned in class. Now both stage 1 and stage 2 you will do in class in week 10. Then in week 11 you will begin designing the right intervention for your problem. Now after that, so between week 11 and week 12, we hope that you will be able to implement your project online. So upload your TikTok or your YouTube or whatever. And then on week 12, we will do stage 4, which is evaluation. And then the final stage is a final presentation or a final exam. In the course syllabus, it was mentioned that you need to both create a final project as well as a presentation. But due to the COVID-19 outbreak and time constraints on this semester's curriculum, we thought that choosing one would suffice, and we have chosen for you to only make the presentation and not the final report. So how this works is that each week you will create 3 or 4 slides based on the discussion with your group for each stage. And for the next week, you simply build upon the presentation you made last week. So at the end of the 4th stage, you have one document that is kind of in order, and you don't need to create a new presentation for your final exam. You only need to refine what you have. That way you can save more time in doing the project. I hope that's clear enough. Here's a table that I created to help guide you through the process of finishing this project. In column 2, you see the stages of this project. In column 3 and 4, you see what you have to do in class and after class corresponding to each stage. Now let's begin in problem definition. This row is in purple just because I know that most of you have already completed it. However, you completed it in doc form. So what you have to do is transfer that into PowerPoints and add or tweak some of the points to accommodate the prompts that are in the next slide. And then you do that in week 10. Also in week 10, you complete the theory-based explanations. You do that in 3 to 5 slides. So instead of creating different slides, you add the 3 to 5 slides of theory-based explanations onto the 3 to 5 slides of problem definition. You continue to do that until week 12. So by the end of week 12, you actually have a complete draft for your final presentation. You need not to invest more time in creating a new PowerPoint. That's the idea of this table. Let me know if you have any questions. As mentioned previously, for the problem definition, the first thing you have to do is transform the document you made for Bu Ariana into PowerPoint form. Now, the second thing is to answer the following prompts. Most of these prompts are things that you have already answered, so that's not a problem. But some others are ones that I notice you haven't actually answered yet. For instance, you haven't mentioned your target group. Is it going to be adolescents? Is it going to be Bapak Ibu Gojek? Or is it going to be people who are still working in the middle of COVID? If, for instance, your project is related to COVID, and etc. So that's what you need to do for the problem definition. In the theory-based explanation stage, what you do is approach your problem or frame your problem according to theories we have learned in class. You can use one theory, but you can also use more than one according to what you need. Also, don't forget to put in your references. In the intervention design section of the PowerPoint, you should explain what medium you use and why. So you should justify why, for instance, you use TikTok and why not the other mediums. You should also explain what persuasion strategy you will use. And lastly, you should give a general outline of the social media content. If, for instance, you have chosen to do like a small dance on TikTok, you should kind of explain what kind of dance it is and what you will explain during that dance. So the next stage is evaluation. There's two types of evaluation here. The first one is peer review, in which you ask one other group to comment on how you did on your project. And the second is a self-evaluation. Now, I'd like to note here that in normal circumstances, we would probably not ask you to do a peer review, but to go out to someone within your target group and ask them what they think about your project. But again, due to this outbreak, I think it would be better that we simplify this. So that's why we're doing this. So in the peer review, you ask your friends their impression of the program, their understanding of the content, whether they learned something new, and their thoughts on the strategy that you used. Now you can choose to do this through a simple quick form. So you distribute this to like the 4 or 5 members of the other team, or you can quickly interview them one by one, and that's fine too, whichever you think is easier for you. So the other evaluation is self-evaluation. We think it's really important that you look back and think about what the minuses and pluses of your project is, and that you are able to connect those plus and minuses to the theory or approach you have chosen. It's also important that you kind of reflect on what you have learned during the process of designing and implementing the project. So that's the two things that should be included in the PowerPoint regarding self-evaluation. Last but not least is the final exam or final presentation. I haven't really thought about how we're going to do this because I was quite hopeful that we'd be able to do it on campus face to face, but in the current situation that sounds quite unlikely. So please let me know if you have any suggestions. My current options are doing a pre-recorded presentation like this one, or we could do a Google Meet, and that sounds fine too. So let me know.